Welcome to this final part of the fundamental training series we've been working through. We are going to finish off our footwork today, and we're going to be looking at our quarter step, long step, and diagonal step. So beginning with our quarter step, let me just show you quickly. We're going to do this from our arrow walk stance. And just like our pivot step that we worked on in part 3, we're focusing on opening the hip and then closing again. Opening, closing, opening, closing, opening, closing. So we're always focusing on using our inner thigh muscles to open up our hip and close. We're going to do it in both directions, turning a quarter. So if we go back the other way, we'd open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close. Taking care, as always, to maintain our balance. We also want to make sure that when we're pivoting, say we pivot to the right, I'm tucking my left leg in before it comes out. So you're actually drawing, it's actually a circle step with your other leg on the inside. So we're going to the right, we circle in, and it comes back out. So your weight is actually coming inwards, your leg comes inwards to bring to your center before it goes back out again. Helicopter. When we're coming the other way, again it's the same thing. The leg comes in and then out. Then the right leg is going to close. It comes in, out, and closes. So just take care that when you're doing that, you're not swinging your leg outwards, it's going to pull you over, but you're coming into your center of balance and then back out again. Coming into the center of balance and back out again. Into the center and out again. Also, for use of the quarter step, all we're doing is making a pivot. So instead of having to rearrange our body, if an opponent moves quickly to either side of our body and we don't basically want to be flanked, we can use a quarter step to change quickly. So it's just a quick step in either direction rather than having to get our feet and change them around. So we can basically maintain our arrow walk stance but change quickly a quarter in any direction. And when you're doing it, you can move in between any of that range. So maybe someone just turns slightly off to get off your center line, then you can just readjust very quickly. So that's more to do with how you use the quarter step in application, which we'll be doing later on. So if you open up your basic stance and bring your left arm and leg forward, we're going to turn to the right first, so you're going to open up your right leg and then close your left. So let's go 1, 2, remembering to pivot on the heels of our feet. 3, but keep maximum connection with the ground. 4. Let's go back the other way. 1, leg opens, right leg's going to close now. 2, 3, 4. Your guard does not move at all when you're doing it. Back to the right, maintain your guard position. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's change sides. So let's take our right arm and leg forward. We're going to go to the left first. So the left leg is going to open, right leg is going to come through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back the other way. 1, opens and closes. 2, right hip opens, left closes. 3, 4. Back to the left. 1, find your balance once you step your foot down. 2, Make sure you're in your stance, weights dropped. 3, 4. Last time back to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. From there, right leg back, left foot to right, and push down. Okay, let's have a look at our long step. Our long step is for covering a further distance. So, for example, when we're using our step and slide, or our launch step, if we wanted to cover more distance, we'd have to do multiple. Whereas with a long step, we can cover the distance more quickly and more efficiently. And we can actually also use it to put us on our other side of our stance. So if we start with our left, we end up with our right leg in front. For example, if I was using a long step, and now with my right leg at the front, if I use it to go backwards, I'd end up with my left arm and leg at the front. So you can also use it if you want to transition onto your other lead side forward. But ultimately, it's if I want to cover this distance, instead of launch stepping or step and sliding, you just cover more quickly by using a long step. But when we're doing it again, we're always focused on maintaining our head. So we're not overreaching and then trying to find our balance again. We're focused on maintaining that all the way through. If your left leg's forward, then to bring this right leg forward, when you step the first step, which would be your front foot all the time if you're going forward, back foot if you're going back, when you step that first step, you need to take it off the diagonal and face it forward. So from there you'd face the foot forward. From here I'd face the foot forward. That is so that you can step the other leg through. Like when we did with our kicks, we don't want to, it's awkward if our hips closed to do a stamp kick. We need to open the hip as we're lifting up to stamp. And it's the same with the step. Because we're bringing our other leg through, we need to open the hip to let that leg go through. So when we take the first short step, because the long step's 3 steps, we point our toe forward to bring that hip through, and then when we step through and the other leg catches up, we turn them slightly on the diagonal again. Let me show you from the side. I'll go slow. As I'm going to step through, I step the left leg, the front leg forward, and I turn it forward. The other leg's going to come through. I'm circling it through, doing that half oval again, always sucking my leg into my body. So my center of gravity is centered, and then back out, and that left leg now catches up. And when we bring it back out, we turn our foot on the diagonal. So now our stance is closed again, so we're not open. Let me do it to the front to show you. So if I'm going forward, hip opens, leg circles through, and I'm closed. And last thing is your back catches up. So you keep the first and third step short, and the leg coming through is a longer step because you're bringing it all the way through, but never so long that you feel like you're losing your balance. So that's too far. So always keeping your balance. But we're aiming hip opens, hip closes. And when we're going backwards, same thing. Back leg is going to move first. We bring the hip in, and then we close at the end. But when you're moving backwards, you won't need to move this, change the angle of the back leg. You maintain it where it is. You just move it, step it back. Before you bring that leg through, and then turn your feet slightly on the diagonal again, heel to toe. I'll do it coming forward. Let's give it a go together. Let's open up our stance. And we'll just keep our hands back for now. So let's just bring our left leg forward. I'm going to do our long step, stepping with our front foot first, bringing the other leg through, then your left leg is going to catch up. So if we go forward, and back, forward, back. I'm going to move back a bit more because I'm not sure I'm in camera. My feet are in camera. Forward and back. Forward and back. Forward and back. Forward and back. Now bring your basic guard up. So all that's going to happen is, once you bring the other leg through, you bring your other arm through. And when you're coming backwards, it's the same thing. You bring your left arm back through. Always coming over for this. So we're going to go like this. One, it comes over. Back, comes over. So we're shooting the guard over. Let's give it a go. Put our arms together with our legs. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. Last time. Forward. Back. And just remember, after every movement, I always pause for a second so you can find your grounding, find your base, so make sure you're doing that. Let's change arms and legs. Bring our right leg forward. And now that right leg is going to step first. Let's do the first couple without our guards. And feel free to try any of our guards when you're doing it. We're using our basic guard, but you've got your funnel guard, you've got your bong sao and wu sao guard. You can try out any. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. If you're finding anything too difficult, any of the steps, go to the lesson videos and just focus on that particular step. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. Sometimes this one confuses people a bit. Forward. Back. That's good because that's challenging. Okay, guard up. So your right arm forward. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. I'll show you a couple from the side. Continue with me. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. Forward. Last time. Back. Pull your leg back, an arm, left foot to right, push down, and shake out. Relax a second, grab a sip of water if you need to. So we've had our quarter step for cutting the angle if an opponent tries to flank us or move around us. So to move quickly in an efficient manner. We've had a long step if we need to cover a longer distance, or if also we want to transition to our other lead side forward. And now we're going to look at our diagonal step, which comes up a lot in your Wing Chun. And it uses the same principle, like all these steps do, as our basic pivot step. So with our diagonal step, we're cutting the line. If you imagine a strike or coming straight at you, which is most of the time, if someone strikes at you, they're going to strike straight at you. It's going to finish on your center line, either towards your chin, your nose, your eyes, or along the center, then we're using the diagonal step to step off that line. Whether that be going slightly backwards, or coming forwards. Same thing, we're going to step off the line. I'll show you the differences in a second. I'm going to put my hands up so you can see actually. So the backwards diagonal, if you imagine opponents in front of you and they're coming forward, we're stepping off that line, but instead of stepping backwards, which would still be on the line, we're stepping diagonally off, boom. But we still face with our whole body towards the opponent. So if they've come forward, we've stepped off, and we're still facing our whole of our body, our feet, that's why we need to turn them diagonally, our torso, our hips, our arms end up coming forward still, so we're going through the line of the person still. And ultimately, that's the position we want to be in, because our structure and shape that we're forming and all the support of our structure is going through them, and theirs hopefully will be going past us. Again, you're never in these positions for long, so if we were using that, bam, 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 then you'd be going straight into something else. You wouldn't be holding that position, but this is building the basic blocks of the movement and footwork. Same thing the other side, if we stepped off, we'd come off that line and be facing diagonal forward. The difference with the forward diagonal, because then we're going to do a diagonal step forward and forward, as we're using that to shut down strikes, to shut down circular strikes. So if we're moving forward, there's another step which we'll be covering after to come off the line and move in. But with a diagonal forward step, we're actually, if you imagine a circular strike like a hook coming in, we're actually, or an overhand, we're actually shutting it down. Structure again supporting our arm that we're shutting the strike down with and striking. So I'll show you again. So now we're moving on a diagonal forward. So we're not moving forward, we're moving on a diagonal forward. So if we need to shut an arm down, overhand or a big strike, instead of waiting for it to come to us, we're shutting it down before it gets a chance to gain momentum. So it's that explosive, direct, bam, wingchun that the art is in these steps. So with all of them, whatever direction you're going in, you step first. If we're going back left, you're going to step that left leg first, the closest foot. Back right, front left, front right. And the other thing is, with these steps, a good visualization tool is imagine that you're in the center of a square and you're going to step to all points of the square. But just make sure that when you step backwards, your toes always face in to the center of the square. So they're on that diagonal there. But when you step forwards, your toes are on going out to the edge of the square. So let's give it a go. If you open up your basic stance, we'll practice our diagonal step. Let's go to the back left first. So we're going to go 1, step off that center line, make sure our base is dropped, head to sky, make sure your feet are on the diagonal, and back. And when we go back, we're going to come back to the same position. Your right foot's going to step first because it should be slightly in front. Bam, bam. Now we're going to go to the front left. So we'll go 2, we're on that diagonal, and when we step back, our right leg is going to go back first, and back. Now we're going to go to the top right. 3, step on the diagonal. Whatever leg you step towards is going to be slightly in front, and back. Back to our basic stance always though. That's our reference point to always come back to. Now final one, back right. 4, toes pointed in. My right leg is slightly behind me, my left leg's slightly in front. And back. Let's go again. Left, front right, back right. So we're moving all around that square. Again, let me show you from the side quickly so you can see the position. If I go back left, my left leg is behind. That's my support of my base going through. If I go to the front left, if you imagine shutting down a strike, now I'm taking all that force down through my front leg and back leg, and there's my base of support again. It'd be easier to see that if I turn. Let me do it to this side so you can see. If I go to shut it down, imagine force is coming in here, I'm taking it down into this leg, into the ground. Front right, boom, if you imagine the same thing, and back, back right. With arms, it looks like this, boom. You can also do it like this if you like, as a reference point, using the triangles, the wedges that we make in Wing Chun. With strikes, it'd look like this. And sorry, that's with defense and attack at the same time, which is another fundamental concept in Wing Chun, defending and striking at the same time. So this is our diagonal step. Let's give it one more go. Open up your stance. We can bring our arms up to our tunnel guard. 1, back to help with our reference points. 2, back. 3, back. 4, back. 1, back. 2, back. Hopefully you did that right. 3, back. 4, back. 1, back. 2, back. 3, back. 4, back. And pull your hands back. Just hold that position a second. So you can see here, everything is always supporting the motion or direction that we're moving in. So after, when we add in the strikes or anything like this, your whole torso, your hips, your feet, your connection to the ground is supporting the movement that you're making. Let's bring our left foot to our right and push down. So that brings us to the end of this 4-part series covering our fundamentals. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next series.